Okay, so I'm trying to show you how to do decal. Just going to make it nice and easy and do it on a remote control. So I'm going to create a new component. I'm going to call that remote. There it appears in the design tree. And I'm going to create a sketch first. So I'm going to create a sketch within the remote. I'm going to create it on that bottom plane. And I'm going to first of all create a rectangle like so. I don't want to make it too big. I want to make it a little bit bigger, but it doesn't matter for this exercise. So I'll leave it like that. Now then, I'm going to make the top of the remote control have a slight curve on it. So the best way to do that will be to create an arc, a 3-point arc. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and just center it up. See exactly where I'm going. And place it on the end and the other end. And just put a slight curve just on that surface there. Perfect. And then just scroll down, pan down to the other one. And I'm going to press one on here and one on there. I'm going to put another one just on the end too. Perfect. And then I'm going to trim out the lines that I really don't want. So the trim function, trim that one out. And then with the nice one at the top, just pop that one. And trim that line out. And then I'll stop the sketch. Then what I'll do is I'll give it some thickness. So I'm going to extrude that shape up. And let's see what 4mm looks like. Way too thick. So I'll put in 2. And let's have a look. Press the home. And maybe I'll just put 1.5 in just to see. Yeah, prefer that. So they've got the basics of my remote. Now I'm going to modify it just a touch. So I'm going to modify, I'm going to fillet this edge, this one, and I'll need to just rotate and orbit that so I can pick off the other 2 edges. Hit escape and just click and click. So I want another slight radius on these. And I'm going to just type in a value to start off with of 1mm, and that will do perfectly. You can have a look from the top view to see what that looks like, and just fit, and that looks great. So I'll go back to my home view and I'll press OK. Now I could also add a fillet all the way around the edge, and that's going to help my decal flow over the top. So actually I might fillet that top edge, and let's just put on 1 and see what that looks like. That's way too big. Let's backspace that and then just put on 0.5, and might even make that 0.3. Yeah. So there's my remote. I could put some curvature on it at this stage, but that's going to, across here, I could make a curve, so I could make it domed. But for this decal exercise, I'm going to leave it flat. Now then, a lot of people get a little bit misunderstood with a decal. They try and bring it in as a JPEG. I'm not quite sure how that works, but I'll show you how to do it as a PNG. So I'm going to go to the internet. And I've searched for my remote control that I like. So I'm going to click, and I'm going to go for the full size image. So it's a good size, 800 by 600. And I'll right click, and I'm going to save the image as. Now I'm going to save it as Bose remote control. There you go. And go to save. Now that will download on your Mac down to here as a JPEG. Double click on the JPEG or single click. Now then, I need to crop this image. So the best way to do that is to open the toolbox and click on the little wizard there. And this will sort of bring it up. And if you click and drag, it'll go this pinkish colour. Now I'm going to drag that closer to the image, and as I get, if you see I go over, I'm going to go into the outside of the image edges itself. So I'm going to kind of leave it there. And when I release and press backspace, it converts it to a PNG, which is great because that's what the decal likes. And I'm done. So I can minimize that or get rid of it. So let's go back to my Fusion and let's go to Insert a Decal and select the face, which is the top one, where you'd like to put it. And then go and look for the image. I saved mine on the desktop and it was called Bose Remote Control. Perfect. And then just press open. Now that opens it onto the actual surface, which is great. Now I can't see that too much. And what's important is the blue arrow will, when you click it, will move it up on the top of the surface to my right and left. And the blue arrow, when you click, will move it backwards and forwards, and it remains on that surface. Now if you look a little bit closer, I'll zoom in for you, you've got this tab in the middle. Now when you click that tab there, it opens up 1, 2, 3. Now the top one there, if I drag that out, it'll drag it out uniformly. Now I'm going to lose a little bit of quality of the image, but for this purpose of showing you how to do a decal, I'm kind of all right with that. That's just a little bit too much. So bring that back. So I'm going to drag that. So it might help if I look from the top and drag that out uniformly to fit. So what I need to do is I need to move that down slightly and then try dragging it uniformly across just to the edge, and drag that down again just a touch, and then drag that just over the edge so that it comes just over there. So I'm going to just drag that down slightly, see what happens, just slightly off. So what I can do is, because the bottom's going to be black anyway, I'm going to go just slightly over. And I'm going to stop the sketch just there and go back to home. Now then, I want to render that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Model and Render. Now when I put that into the render mode, I need to change the bottom to black. And if I go into Appearance and I look up Plastic, it's already set on Plastic, but I can go through and pick up Plastic and I can go to the black and pick off, have I gone past that? Yep, black gloss, and onto that body. So the whole thing now turns black. And I'm going to close that. Now to get a really nice appearance on this, best thing to do would be to go to Scene Settings and click on your environment. And your environment, you might want to put some reflections on. Just move that to the side. So automatically I've got a nice reflection on the bottom, and I'm going, it's automatically default. Once I go to environment, you can see the library there. It's automatically defaulted onto sharp lights. I can go for cool, grid lights. And if I want to change to cool lights or grid, I can just drag and dump that onto there. And it just slightly changes the light. So let's go back to what it was on before, sharp. It's kind of like that. And close. Now to sharpen that up, I'm just going to press home. So to sharpen that up, I'm going to press In Canvas Render. Now the In Canvas Render will give you a really great view, but what it does is normally it pops up, and on the side here you've got this little tab open called In Canvas Render, and it usually comes on Advanced automatically, and it kind of sprays the screen, and then it takes about 20 minutes to an hour to give you a beautiful image on here. So it's been left on normal, and once you set that in motion, in Canvas Render, that takes about 5–10 minutes, probably a little bit longer, and you get a perfect rendered finished copy. of a Bose remote control. So that's basics of how to do a decal.